Have you ever thrown away a battery because you thought it was dead? I found this drill case sitting in my storage for a long time, untouched. So today, I wanted to check if these batteries still work after all that time. I pressed the trigger on the first one. Nothing happens. Completely dead. Then I try the second one. It runs, but you can feel it right away. This kind of situation happens more often than you think. Most people would replace it without a second thought. But what if the battery isn't actually dead? What if it's just asleep? Today we're going to figure that out together, step by step. Let's start with the basics. The first thing to check is the charger. I slide the battery into its dedicated charger and watch the indicator. The light turns green immediately. That means the charger doesn't recognize the battery as something it needs to charge. That's already a clue. Now I take two small metal pads and carefully insert them into the contact slots. This allows me to access the terminals more directly. To get a quick reading, I use a 12-volt LED. It's a simple way to check if there's any output at all. I connect it to the terminals. Nothing. Not even a faint glow. So we go one step deeper. I bring in a multimeter and measure the voltage directly. 0. At this point, we know something important. The battery isn't just weak, it's completely inactive at the output level. So now the question becomes, is it truly dead, or is something preventing it from working? Let's open it up. I take a small screwdriver and remove the screws one by one. Slow, controlled movements. You don't want to crack the casing. Once the shell comes apart, the internal structure is exposed. Cells, connectors, and a small circuit board. Now this is where we start looking for clues. I measure across different connection points. No voltage anywhere. That tells us the output is completely shut down. But visually something is missing. There's no rust, no corrosion, no broken wires. That's unusual, because if a battery is physically damaged, you usually see signs. Burn marks, oxidation, loose connections. Here everything looks intact. That leads to a different conclusion. This battery isn't dead. It's in a deep discharge state. When lithium battery cells drop below a certain voltage, the protection circuit shuts everything down. But before doing that, we need to make sure the contact points are clean. I switch to a cotton swab with a small amount of WD-40. Now, this is important. I don't spray it directly. I apply it to the swab first, then gently clean each contact point. WD-40 works well here because it dissolves. Grime removes moisture and leaves a thin protective layer that helps prevent future oxidation. I go over each contact carefully. Small circles, light pressure. You can actually see the surface becoming cleaner. Then I use tweezers to check each connection. Press lightly adjust if needed. A stable connection ensures current can flow without interruption. Now let me ask you something. Where are you watching from right now? And have you ever tried fixing a battery like this before? I'm always curious to hear what works for you. Now that everything is clean, we move to the real step, waking the battery up. For this, we need a simple setup. 2 wires, 2 alligator clips, and 2 small metal pads. I strip the ends of the wires and attach them to the metal pads. Then I connect the other ends to the clips. Use pliers to tighten each connection. A loose joint can create resistance, and that reduces effectiveness. Now we have a basic connection tool. Next, I take a 12-volt car battery. This will be our external power source. Before connecting anything, I double-check the polarity. Positive to positive, negative to negative. This step matters. Reversing polarity can damage the cells instead of helping them. Once everything is ready, I connect the clips. And now, we wait. This is not about charging the battery. It's about boosting its internal voltage just enough to reactivate the protection circuit. Think of it like giving the battery a small push to wake it up. I leave it connected for about 20 minutes. During this time, the voltage inside the cells slowly rises. Not enough to fully charge, but enough to bring it out of that deep sleep state. After 20 minutes, I disconnect everything and measure again. Now we see a change. The multimeter shows a small voltage. Not full, but clearly no longer zero. That's the first sign of life. Now we reassemble the battery. Carefully place everything back into the casing. Align the parts, close the shell, and secure the screws. Next, I put it back into the charger. This time the light turns red. That means the charger recognizes the battery and starts charging it. This is a critical moment. It confirms that the internal circuit is active again. After about 15 minutes, the light turns green. Now, we test it again. I measure the voltage. It's back to a normal range. Then I connect the LED. It lights up immediately. And finally, the real test. I insert the battery into the drill. Pull the trigger. The motor spins. Strong, stable, just like before. Now we know for sure. The battery wasn't dead. It was just inactive. And with a simple method, we brought it back to life. So next time you find a battery like this, don't rush to replace it. Take a closer look. Test it. Understand what's happening inside. Because sometimes what looks broken just needs the right push to work again. And I'm curious, would you try this method, or would you still go for a new battery? Let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear your thoughts and experiences. If this helped you, share it with someone who might need it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.